Welcome to the Career Transition Workshop. We're beginning a 3-part mini-series on interviewing. In this session entitled Interviewing Tactics, How to Pitch Yourself, we'll talk about what to do before, during, and after the interview. Next time, you'll learn how to respond to tough questions. And in the last session, you will even have a chance to practice. What a shame to work so hard at properly packaging and promoting yourself and then fail to properly pitch yourself during the interview. The big pitch, successfully selling yourself. I always like what W. Foots Clement said. He said, selling is the gentle art of letting the other person have your way. There are 6 steps to powerfully pitching yourself. Some steps happen before or after the interview. Most happen during the interview. Here are the 6 steps. Before the interview, the first step is preparation, and there are 2 tasks to get ready. Joe Power said, thorough preparation makes its own luck. And Louis Pasteur says, chance favors the prepared mind. During the interview, you'll start the second step, which is positioning. Here there are 2 tasks to get going. The third step is probing. Here, 3 tasks to get to the need. The fourth step is prescription. 4 tasks here to get to the point. The 5th step and the last one during the interview is positive closure, where there are 3 steps to get results. Finally, after the interview, the 6th step is postscript, 2 tasks to get back on the attack. Altogether, 6 steps, 16 tasks to put you in a power position for interviewing. And that's our goal in this session. The more you know about the art and science of interviewing, the more you are in the power position because the interviewer may know nothing. So let's begin with step 1, preparation, where again there are 2 tasks to get ready. Did you go to college? If so, where? I want you to think back. I want you to think about what your major was. What was your toughest class? During the week before final exams, I'm going to ask you, how much time did you spend in preparation for the tough test that you were going to face? An interview is your final exam in the hiring process. It is a simple pass or fail. To pass, you need to prepare. Listen to the ratio of preparation in these 2 quotations. The first from Lincoln, when he once said if he had 8 hours to cut down a tree, he would spend the first 6 sharpening his axe. The ratio, 3-to-1. Likewise, Donald Barnhouse said, if I knew the Lord was coming in 3 years, I would spend 2 years studying and 1 year preaching. Ratio, 2-to-1. So 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 means that if you have scheduled a 1-hour interview, you should spend 3 hours in preparation. If you have an all-day interview, then spend 2 to 3 days in preparation. Here is what you need to do. The first task in preparation is to collect the intelligence. Get information about the 5 C's because we know that knowledge is power. So get as much as you can beforehand. Solomon writes in Proverbs, a man of knowledge increases power. The first C is for collecting intelligence about the contact. Learn as much as you can about the people with whom you will be interviewing. Here's some ideas. Know each person. Who are they? Research each individual on the internet or in the company literature or press releases or websites or LinkedIn. Learn as much as you can about their professional and personal background. Second, know their position. What is their role in the organization? The boss's boss, the decision maker, maybe an influencer, perhaps the gatekeeper. Get an organization chart. That'll help. Know their purpose. What is their agenda? And each contact may be working a different agenda, so know the agenda of each. Make sure that you have a good sense as to why you will be meeting with each person that you will be meeting with. Know their personality. So here is a quick lesson on personality profiles. Are they proactive or reactive? Proactive people are the extroverts, optimistic, very fast-paced, and outgoing in nature. In terms of communication style, they are outspoken. They're talkers and tellers, and very direct in their communication when interviewing. Reactive people, on the other hand, are the introverts, more pessimistic, a little slower paced, and reserved in nature. In terms of communication style, they are soft-spoken. They're the askers and listeners, and much more indirect when interviewing. Now look at whether they are relationship-oriented or results-oriented. Relationship-oriented people are the people. They're all about connecting people. They process information based upon how they feel about it. In terms of communication style, they're very open and public when interviewing. Results-oriented people, on the other hand, are program taskmasters. They're all about completing to-dos. They process information based upon how they think about it. In terms of communication style, they tend to be a little bit more closed, a little bit more private when interviewing. When these two divergent temperament types intersect, they form what is called a four-quadrant model, originally revealed in the writings of the ancient Greek physician Hippocrates. Knowing people's personalities helps you adapt your communication style. For example, for proactive, results-oriented people, we refer to them as controlling personalities. They are bottom-line people. Get to the point quickly. Be careful that they don't dominate the conversation. Proactive and results-oriented people we call socializing personalities. They love to talk and tell stories. They are friendly and personable. Tell stories yourself. Be expressive. Make it fun with them. Reactive and relationship-oriented people we call peaceful personalities. They are great listeners and will generally be interested in you and your life. Visit with them like you're visiting with an old friend. And finally, reactive and results-oriented people have methodical personalities. They are analytical by nature and will need to ask a bunch of questions. Be precise. Facts and figures here. Don't try to schmooze them. So how do you find out all this information about a contact, about the person, position, purpose, and personality? Well, one answer is from the person setting up the interview. Just ask them. Say, I really would like to get prepared. Can you help me answer some questions about this person that I'm going to be interviewing with? The second C is for collecting intelligence on the company culture. Learn as much as you can about the company and its culture, their vision and values, their work-life balance, openness to outsiders and innovation, reputation within the industry. You can learn about the company culture by conducting primary research or secondary research. Primary research is pulling information about the company from people who know the company, like past or present employees or vendors or customers. Secondary research is pulling information from print and electronic media, like the internet, like the company's website, or EDGAR, which is the Securities Exchange Commission's database, or Hoover's, or just a Google search, or gathering information out of the library or a college placement office, or annual reports or press releases. The third C is for collecting intelligence on the community conditions. Learn as much as you can about where the company is located if it is out of town. You can learn about the community conditions from Places Rated Almanac, a great source and resource which is referenced in your Seeker's Notebook. The fourth C is for collecting intelligence on the criteria for selection. Learn as much as you can about what makes the ideal candidate. What core competencies are they seeking? Where do you stand compared to other candidates? You can learn a lot by simply getting a position description. The fifth and final C is for collecting intelligence on the compensation. Learn as much as you can about your marketplace value. You can learn about your compensation from salary surveys. Now, here's a warning. Don't directly ask about salary information early on in an interview. Instead, focus on what they need and how well you can satisfy that need. You'll learn more about how to handle salary questions in Session 9, Classy Answers to Classical Questions. That's task 1 in the preparation step, to collect the intelligence. Task 2 is to construct the interview. Best to think through the interview rather than walk in and shoot from the hip. You can construct the interview using these 5 S's. The first S in constructing the interview is to schedule the time and place. When the interview is being scheduled, ask if you are the first or last to be interviewed. Only 14% of candidates interviewed first get the job, compared to 56% who interview last. So, try to be last. When the interview is being scheduled, ask how much time it will take. Then at the beginning of the interview, verify that that original time is still available. If the time is the same, hey, your plan A should work. If the time is shortened, have a plan B. Stay flexible. Be creative. Never book your return too close to the end of an interview. You don't want to be the one to say goodbye. The goal is to have enough time to sell yourself, even if you get delayed. The goal is not to hurry back. The place for the interview can vary. It can be their place, your place, or some neutral place. If it's their place and you are unfamiliar with where it is located, then make a trial run. Plan on what the traffic might look like at the particular time of day that your interview is scheduled for. Plan to arrive at the location about 15 minutes ahead of time. Plan to walk in and announce your arrival, however, only about 5 minutes ahead of time. In the meantime, head to the head. In the head, you can freshen up, wash your hands to get away that sweaty palms. Make sure you're looking good. Look yourself in the eye and say, I can do this. Give yourself that final confidence boost. If it's their place, watch out for interruptions if it's in their office. Better if it's in a conference room. If it's a neutral site like a restaurant, watch what you order and order light. And I'll tell you, no alcohol. No matter how much of a solid drinker they are, no alcohol. No wine, no mixed drinks, nada, nothing. I want you sharp, I want you fresh, and I want you concentrating. Plus, it may be a trap just to see if you go along with what they're doing. The second S in constructing the interview is to set maximum and minimum objectives. getting clear in your mind what you want to accomplish with each person within the time you are given and why. What's the rationale? You are setting best case, which is most optimistic, and worst case, most pessimistic scenarios. Consequently, you are setting a direction or a target to hit, which really saves time. Setting objectives helps you stop from meandering or overselling. It helps you avoid discouragement by achieving at least the minimum. For example, your minimum objectives might be maybe to be invited back to be interviewed by someone else in the company. Or maybe to tell them about 3 specific attributes and achievements that best fit the job. The third S in constructing the interview is to structure the agenda. Visualize how the sequence of the interview will unfold within the time frame allowed. For example, ask the interviewer, what are their objectives? What do they want to accomplish with the time that you have? If they don't have any specifics, offer up your objectives. If they do have specifics, then adapt yours to theirs. The fourth S in constructing the interview is to study questions and answers. Then you should rehearse the interview, first by yourself, then role play with others. Rehearse not only your answers to questions, but also rehearse the questions you developed in session 2, Career Choices and Consequences, regarding the type of boss and company you've targeted. Rehearsal, hey, it's God's idea. He had Moses practice his stick in the desert before going to interview with the Pharaoh. So practice makes perfect. The fifth and final S in constructing the interview is to see success in your mind. Solomon writes in Proverbs, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." You only get one chance to make a first impression, so make that first 7 seconds successful. Make them count. And you do that by having the right appearance and the right attitude. Appearance means get suited for success, dressed to impress. Check with someone on the inside about what is appropriate attire. Be a little more conservative and professional, but don't overdress or underdress. You know, I've learned that women are very good at dressing strategically. They think ahead of time about who's going to be there, what's the occasion, what do they want to present in terms of their style. You know, men, what do? We just kind of smell our pits and says, hey, that'll work another day. Guys, we got to do a better job. We got to think strategically. We've got to look when we want to look authoritative, have an authoritative look, a dress about us. When we want to look casual and comfortable, sort of a business casual, we have good looking outfits that go with that. May require a little of investment. Don't be afraid to invest and get a good return on that investment. You know, I understood for a long time that I really didn't have that gift. So I turned to my wife to always give me some ideas about how to dress a little bit better. I remember walking in church one day and seeing a guy that was really wearing a suit, probably upon the same suit he used when he retired. It was maybe 10, 15 years out of style. So I turned to my wife and I said, hey, listen, when I get old, do me a favor. Have me kind of dress more contemporary, would you? And she said, yes, sure, she'd love to do that, but why wait until then? Oh, women can be so helpful. And then not only is there appearance, but there's attitude. Start off with being positive and upbeat, even if you don't feel like it. Better to fake it until you can make it. Believe in you. Believe in what you can do and that you will do well. You know, one person with a belief is equal to a force of 99 who have only interests. And that's what John Stuart Mill said. Ralph Waldo Emerson says the world belongs to the energetic. So be enthusiastic. I love that word enthusiastic. The origin of that word comes from in plus theos, which means in God. And be inspired, which in the Bible means God breathed. He says all scripture is God breathed, God inspired. To summarize, in step 1, you had preparation. You need to first collect intelligence, then construct the interview. Let's move on to step 2. Step 2 in powerfully pitching you is positioning. Those tasks you do right before the interview begins to position yourself for success. There are 2 tasks. Task 1 in positioning is to contact the advocate, to do some praying before you start saying stuff in the interview. For followers of Jesus Christ, we have an advocate, a mediator, an intercessor that presents our petitions to the throne of God. We don't pray alone. We pray with His power before us. So right before you head into the interview, say a little prayer. It doesn't have to be long and complex. Just simple, like, God be with me, or Lord, help me to do my best, or your will be done. Listen to how prayer strengthens Nehemiah as his interview begins with the king of Persia, Xerxes. Recorded in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 2, verses 4 and 5. Here's what it says. Then the king said to me, what would you request? So I prayed to God in heaven, and I said to the king, whoa, that was pretty quick. A quick, simple prayer between their question and your answer positions you with God on your side. Task 2. Task 2 in positioning is to create some chemistry. As the interview begins, try not to jump right in, but instead establish a mutual rapport. Getting to know one another has several benefits. First, it tends to break barriers. Creating some chemistry gets the interviewer's attention, should they be preoccupied with work. It tends to relax both parties, who may be just kind of a little anxious with meeting strangers. Another benefit is it builds bridges. Creating some chemistry begins to develop a relationship built on common or shared values or shared interests. It is easier for really each party to make a small step to common ground than a large leap to the other person's viewpoint. Building a bridge helps promote a sense of equality as well. Another benefit is it allows you to match messages. Creating some chemistry helps you to observe their personality so that you can adapt your communication style. So the question you might ask is, how do you create some chemistry? How do you build some mutual rapport? Well, with icebreakers like these. First, look around the office. There are plaques or mementos or maybe books, look at pictures, diplomas, or simply ask, hey, can I take a little plant tour? Can I walk around and see the digs with you? You can discuss general or specific business conditions, like the economy or what's going on in the community. And finally, you just be sensitive. Be sensitive to the mutuality of common interests. Don't comment on items that really don't interest you. After a little rapport building, send a subtle signal that it's time to get down to business and start getting into the interview. So to summarize, in step 2, which is positioning, you need to first contact the advocate, then create some chemistry. So let's review. Step 1 in powerfully pitching you is preparation. Step 2 is positioning. Now comes the heart of the interview,